Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Forgive the sunglasses, but there's some water here and there's a strong glare, so I don't want you to look into my very, very tiny eyes if I have no sunglasses on. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. It's been a very, very beautiful and intense 4 or 5 days for us as we had the Yada retreat here. And I want to share a little bit because it so deeply connects to what we're seeing in the world and what we have been seeing over the last few days now, weeks now, months now. But first, let me welcome you all in a live chat, waiting for people to jump on to get their notifications. If YouTube is on board with that, and letting people know that we're actually live. Over the last few days, Christine and I have spent some very intense times with a group of people that showed up for the Yada, the You Are the One retreat. And as I told the group right from the beginning, this is no hype, this is no, we're gonna hype you up and motivate you deeply. We go into sort of a deep space, somewhere where people usually do not go, and they have not been not taught to go there. And something happens when people show up for that. And this is currently happening all over the world. People have, of course, been reaching out and asking what I think about what is happening in Israel. And I could go into all of that, all my human observations, all the facts, all the opinions, all the alliances, the deceptions. And we do that. We do think these things matter to a certain degree, and that's why we talk about them. But what I'm more interested in, and always have been, is what is driving this thing? What is driving the chaos and the conflict? Why are we seeing it? And more importantly, what is it really that we can do about it? And so when we go through this journey at this retreat, at some point, almost everybody experiences this war within them. This war that's playing out on the human field of illusions, the 3D reality, the screens out there, and the real battlefields in the physical terms. Yes, the real battlefields. Don't ever get me wrong. I'm not diminishing this, or I'm not trying to take away from the reality of the suffering and the pain that people are experiencing. No. But see, where this is really born from is not conflict between minds. It's not conflict between cultures. It's actually born from the suppression of our real consciousness. Consciousness is the driver of everything. Nothing can be born from anything else but consciousness. It can be very low or it can be very high, and depending on this level, the results will be extremely different. What we're seeing now, some people might say, is the result of a very, very low level of consciousness. And that would seem like the logical thing to conclude. I beg to differ. What we're seeing now is the drama that is playing out because enough people have actually decided to go on a healing journey and raise the level. Above a certain level of consciousness, violence cannot happen anymore. Above a certain level of consciousness, murder, rape, abuse cannot happen anymore. Enough people have decided to break this cycle, and what we're seeing now is this playing out in our reality. That's what I really believe. I believe that these forces that are fighting the wars of all wars right now, this is the wars of all wars. The wars of all wars is not fought with the weapons that you think it's fought with. The wars of all wars is there to keep us and many other and the vast majority of people from ever experiencing a level of higher consciousness. which is also a level of love and a level of unconditional gratitude and appreciation and joy. Because once people experience that, once they really experience that, the chance that they will return to those lower levels of anger and fear and violence and conflict are very, very slim. Because once you tap into it, everything begins to change. And I compared this to, if you, and this is of course just symbolism, right? I can't really compare this to anything, but look at your smartphone. If you own a smartphone, that smartphone, when it's on airplane mode, it still has some pretty cool capabilities. It can do a lot of cool things, right? On airplane mode. It's kind of like us, this human temple. It can do some pretty cool things when it's just using its own faculties, right? What is within us, the mind, the muscles, everything that's within this temple. But when we untoggle the airplane mode, what happens? The phone connects to the internet, to the field, and its capabilities are infinitely bigger when it's connected to the field. It taps into almost infinite amounts of information. It's the same thing when we raise our consciousness. We connect with the field of all possibilities, the field of creation, the God field, if you will. And all of a sudden, our capabilities, our power to envision, our ability to create and co-create and dream and manifest becomes infinitely higher. Infinitely higher. But how does this connection actually work? And this is something we touched on over the last few days with this group of people, is there's a thing that is called spiritual bypassing. And don't get me wrong, there is a time and place where you need to use the spiritual tools that you have to make sure that you can get through a situation, that you can get through any given thing. But spiritual bypassing means that you use meditation, you use affirmations, you use prayer to bypass the pain and bypass the hurt and the trauma, maybe, to get to a better state of feeling. As I said, there's a time and place for that. But that becomes an addictive pattern for so many people. And guess what it doesn't include? It doesn't include real healing. For the real healing to happen, you have to be willing to go the straight line, go through it. Even if that means experiencing it one more time, something that you avoid, that you try to avoid so hard. But in a deeper meaning and in a deeper level of consciousness, if you go through that and actually heal it, it is resolved. And I think the human spirit consciousness is like a hot air balloon. It wants to rise. It naturally aspires to rise. The rope that's holding it down, that's all the drama, the pain, the suffering, the shit, the influence, the poison, everything that's holding it down. But guess what? You are the only one who can decide to make that shift. This is the key thing that over and over and over, when people decide on that and really realize that's the truth, it's only them, only they can make that decision. They begin to win the war of all wars. Because when the shit is removed, when the trauma is healed, when the pain is resolved, what remains is pure human spirit. It's consciousness. That is infinitely more powerful than all the other things and all the other BS that we hear about every day. Now, am I saying we can meditate our way out of this? No, I'm not saying this. What I'm saying is we can walk the path of higher consciousness through this. And the solutions that are born from higher consciousness cannot be envisioned from lower consciousness, right? They cannot be envisioned yet. This is a narrow path and only few people are willing to walk it, but those who really walk it, they see shifts and changes in their lives that are almost impossible to even imagine. So, the message has been and will be that we are the source of all transformation all around us. And this is both the most difficult thing for some people to accept and both the most and the most liberating thing when they actually do accept it. Does that include God the Creator? Absolutely. God gave us everything. We were created from this infinite, above everything and including everything, Creator. So yes, the journey must include the Creator. The Creator already gave us everything. The question is, are we going to use it? Are we going to finally untoggle the airplane mode and connect to the field and accept the truth of that and accept our creative power, accept our divine spark that is beyond the mind, it's beyond the body, it's beyond the muscles, it's beyond the logic, it's beyond anything that simply is attached to this human experience. But if your mind is infused with the divine spark and your body is infused with the divine spark and you soak in that and you swim in that and you float in that, guess what happens? Everything levels up. And when everything levels up, the world around you doesn't just begin to change, it begins to blossom again. And we're so close, or we might have even passed it, but we're so close to what I call critical mass. Critical mass is not about how many people are doing a certain thing. Because you can have 10 people doing the exact same thing for the exact same amount of time, doing the same physical actions for the same amount of time in the same conditions, and depending on their intention and their level of consciousness, the results are going to be completely different. This is why you have organizations and companies and any kind of group that are very similar in their structure. From the outside, they look very similar. They have a similar service, a similar product, and one thrives and one struggles. And you go and say, why? They're doing the same thing. They're having the same amount of employees. They're having the same amount of hours put in. The difference is the consciousness that is driving the ship. And that's why, if you want to speak symbolically, the David versus Goliath equation works because consciousness is the driver and it overrides any other form of energy. It overrides any other form of energy. And I shared one thing with the group that we recently heard that we can't confirm yet because we haven't really seen the numbers. Consciousness is measurable. Every feeling like love or anger or fear can be measured actually because it's vibration. And so far, the words that were being described as the highest vibrational states of being were bliss and love. Those were the two words mainly used. Recently, somebody added a third word that they say vibrates even higher, and that is authenticity. So pure expression of who or what you truly are. That resonated with me. I don't have evidence for it yet. I haven't seen the numbers yet, but thankfully we have a great group of people all around us that can do that, and they will do that. Authenticity. Our expression in our purest form. Now, to me, that sounds authentic. To me, that is absolute, it rings true. I just wanted to share this with you. I'm not saying it is a truth. It just feels true. And so when we look at the conflicts out in the world today, and when we try to find the solutions, we have to begin within, always have to begin within. The thing about out there, and our good friend George always says this, he says, you know, it can either get better or worse or stay about the same. And I love that. It brings humor to it. But The truth of it is, I'm not in Israel. I'm not in Palestine. I'm not in Kiev. I'm not in Moscow. I'm not at in those places right now. I'm right here. So I want to bring my full attention to the here and the now. And I want to every day do everything that I can to raise my own consciousness and state of awareness and infuse that into my reality. And the effects that it's been having are beautiful. I see this in other people. And if that choice is really made, how good it can get, you cannot imagine it. You cannot. Because an infinite door begins to open if you walk through it, which includes everything from the healing to the tough days, to the days where you show up with discipline, to the highest heights that are unimaginable. But that is the key, my friends. That is how we have already won the war of all wars. And these dark forces, they really don't know what that feels like. They don't know what these levels of consciousness feel like. They don't know, but we do. And this is it. This has always been the key. This war will not be won with physical weapons. It will be won with consciousness. So, this is the message I wanted to share. This is what we've been really going into very deep over the last few days, and what we've seen some amazing breakthroughs. I can only tell you that when you see someone walk into the room at such a retreat on the first night, and then you see them walk out on the last day, and you go, I would not recognize that person anymore. They have really created such a shift that their appearance has completely changed. Their eyes have opened. Their posture is changing. Their solar plexus is open. Their heart is open. My goodness, what a honor to be part of such an experience. What a blessing to be able to be a small part of someone's journey like that. And in that vein, I'm honored because to announce something to you, because a few weeks ago, Christine and I were taking a walk through the woods, and she said something that surprised me more than anyone. Christine was working with clients one-on-one as a counselor, as a teacher, as a coach for many years. And what I got to experience just seeing these people come and leave and see these transformations over and over again, that's her greatest gift. That's who she is. And she took a break from that, partially because we just do so many other things, and you can only focus on so much at a time. And she said, for a limited time, with a limited number of clients, she feels very inspired to accept a few one-on-one clients, and it's all on her terms. She said, I'm at this stage where I know exactly if the person shows up and they really, really want to show up for themselves, I know we can get there and beyond. And so, starting November, for a limited time with a limited number of people, she will do that on a one-on-one basis. And I'm just excited this is happening, because this is who she is, and it will be such a gift to those who will do it. So if that is something that speaks to you, or that you've been wanting, then just send us an email, info@inspiredchannel.net, and we'll figure out the details. Who is this for? That's that's the main question. Who is this for? And the best way for me to describe this is, if you want to go beyond anything you have experienced in your life so far, and if you want to tap into the field of infinite potential that is available and you're ultimately a part of, but really tap into that, experience that in your life, and what that really means, then this is for you. This is then for you. And how good it can get, there are no words to describe that. You will have to experience it for yourself. So my friends, this is it for now. I want to share this with you. I want to come on and just say that here's the beautiful piece. The tough piece you already know. The tough piece is the shit that's going on out there, and the suffering is real, and the pain is real. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. But the beautiful piece is that you are part of the solution, and you don't have to go anywhere else to become that part of the solution. You just have to allow yourself to do what it takes to cut the rope that is keeping your hot air balloon, your consciousness at certain levels, and let it rise. That's the beautiful piece, that it's all within us. It really is. We might need guidance sometimes, we might need a little help from outside, but the actual thing is within us. And that we truly are the change. We are the change. It's been so overused, but it's true. We are the change, my friends. And we can affect everything. And we're winning this. I give you my word, we are winning this. We just have to show up. Much love, many blessings, and we'll be back with you again very, very soon.